Hello and welcome to London360, the only regular news feature show that keeps you up to date with everything that's going on in the capital. You can catch us here weekly, or you can watch the show anytime and get involved online at communitychannel.org/London360. In this show, we have an exciting lineup of features, from a trip down memory lane at the Tower of London to the MOBO Award nominations celebrating the UK's urban music scene. First up, following our coverage of the Refugees Welcome March, Bhat's report sheds a light on the young Londoners who travelled to Calais to take matters into their own hands.
Don't make this a demonstration for one day. For at least 20 years, the Refugee Convention has been dishonoured by our leaders of left and right, dishonoured in thought and word and deed.
I think we can help, we can always help. We're in such a better position than the countries, and they're just torn apart by war.
Londoner Maha Neela describes how she's taking action during this refugee crisis.
The Calais Aid Network is a group of young people who live in London who have all come together through social media, and we all just want to do the same thing, which is just directly make some kind of impact on the people that are in Calais at the moment. The first time I went to Calais, it was definitely not what I was expecting, but still it totally surpassed my expectations. I think it did for everyone. We drove out of London at around like 5 o'clock in the morning, and when we got there it was just beyond like what you could imagine. It was almost as if we were suddenly in a third world country, in a slum somewhere, rather than in the middle of Calais in France, which is just insane. I mean, it takes 2 hours to get there from like my doorstep, so it's just a really surreal change of scenery to know that you can be 2 hours away and just be at home, and then 2 hours away from there you're sitting in this camp with thousands of people in tents, and it's really horrible. There was this one guy I met, his name was Matasim, and he was 24. He was an accountant, and it was just incredible meeting him because he had qualifications, he had skills, he was intelligent, he was young. And he was like, the only thing that keeps me warm at night is knowing that when I get to the UK, everything's gonna be fine. And it was just a bit like heartbreaking, really, just to think it's not that simple. All of this and more, there was about 3 more rows of stuff, was all donated by our local cafe. They heard about what we were doing, and they just, in the space of a week, put this all together. They were offering free teas and coffees to anyone that donated. And they even got really amazing things like saris and shalwar kameezes, which are really in demand. I mean, people don't think that you'd need that, but a lot of the women there were looking for stuff like that. So it was a really cool way that the whole community and where I live just came together just for this cause. On our second trip, we just brought ourselves and tried to sort and distribute everything in a proper way, because I think that's the main problem there. People might just turn up in a van and drop everything on the ground and just expect people to be grateful for it. And it's like, one, these people are human beings and they've got dignity. They're not just, you know, like animals that you could throw your scraps to. But also, if you don't distribute things properly, then you're going to end up with, you know, stuff all over the floor, which is what happens. They're not used to living like this. They're not used to living on the streets. They all had houses and homes and things. And I think a lot of people kind of don't expect that. They expect people who are here to be used to living in that kind of like squalor, which is just completely untrue. You know, it's just as if it's just like you or me or anyone just going, literally having to escape the place where you live and then being forced to live like that. Like, it's exactly the same comparison.
Over 2,000 people gathered at the Tower of London to raise awareness about the impact dementia has on people's lives and how the Alzheimer Society is supporting them. Suna Yokes discovered why it was a walk to remember.
Bringing about a world without dementia, that's our aim, and that's why we're here today, to move one step closer to that ambition.
There are 850,000 people in the UK living with dementia. I'm here at the Tower of London, where the memory walk for the Alzheimer Society is taking place. It was
fascinating to walk around the back streets of the city, something I hadn't done before. It was quite moving to walk behind people wearing labels saying, "I'm walking for my lovely granddad who has dementia." There were young people, middle-aged, even some fairly elderly people walking.
As you're going round, your father or your nan, they're all in your mind and you're thinking about all the good times you've had. I'm getting emotional now talking about it.
Dementia is a disease. It's not a natural part of ageing. It's a disease you can get like cancer, like heart disease. And some research we did just last year showed that there were twice as many people under 65 with dementia as we previously thought.
In fact, the findings revealed more than 40,000 people under 65 have early onset dementia. It touches the 670,000 carers and families of those diagnosed.
Our nan's got vascular dementia. If someone is affected by it, I've found that the best way to get around it is to talk. A lot of young people, young boys especially, they don't want to admit that they have feelings or emotions. They want to be strong for everyone. It's all right to let your guard down. It's all right to feel weak, because then you can actually get help and feel better.
We're here today walking for my nan, who we refer to as Yaya. She's a 91-year-old, very fit and healthy, enjoys walking, running around, telling us what to do most of the time. I noticed that she started to lose her memory in 2012. I actually remember the day walking up to the door and she didn't greet us as she normally would. 10 minutes later she came down the stairs crying because she told us she had forgotten, she didn't know who we were. After that I called her GP just to get her assessed. He said she was fine, there was nothing wrong with her. By 2013 it progressed really fast. She has absolutely no recognition of who we are. She's happy, she's mainly in her childhood.
She really took so much pride in how she looked, very old-fashioned Greek lady, and it's just horrible to see how it has changed her so much. The horrible stuff of seeing her wet herself. She thought that my sister was my daughter.
But to see how many people here, you realise you're not alone. A lot of people are going through the same things.
Dementia is in the public eye like never before. Society is waking up to the fact that it costs the UK an estimated £26 billion annually. Alzheimer's Society is overcoming years of underinvestment by funding £6.5 million worth of research over the next 18 months.
Good progress is being made in trying to identify the cause, and once they've got the cause down to the cellular level, they can expand research onto the treatment for it. Hopefully in the next 10 years, before I get to that situation, there might be some effective treatment.
It's been an emotional day, but a powerful day. I will now do it year on year on year without a shadow of a doubt.
Research is coming forward, technology is getting better. Walk for somebody's life. It might not be your family, your walk could help somebody else. Every step helps. Take the first step.
Here at London360, we love to give people a platform to have a say about their great city. So we invite you to send us your stories, points of view, or even passionate rants. Elizabeth Adetula headed down to the protest outside District nightclub and spoke to demonstrators about the challenges they faced getting into London's night spots.
I went down to the protest outside District Club in Leicester Square after recent allegations that they refused 4 women entry on the grounds of being too fat and too dark. Here's what some people had to say.
We came down here on Saturday and was denied entry, reason being because we're black, too dark, and we're overweight. So we feel that we had to bring this to light and obviously inform others about what's going on in District Club, because people come here, we spend money, but they don't want us to be in here.
District is a club that thinks they've got a great reputation, and because people go in there and spend thousands and thousands of pounds on tables, they feel like they have power to tell someone that you can't come in because of the way you look.
I've myself experienced discrimination at clubs, bars, everywhere you go, and I personally don't feel it's right that anyone should be discriminated at
all. Already, Londoners and celebrities have started to boycott District Club. So is this a wake-up call for the London club scene?
That's all for part 1, but see you after the break for more London stories. We'll be finding out about the challenges and opportunities for young people with learning disabilities and how board games can be good for the mind. Welcome back to part 2 of London360, the only show that unearths real stories from London's hidden communities. Leaving education and moving into adult life can be an exciting and challenging time. Jordan Shelley's report investigates why, for a young person with a learning disability, making this transition can be even more difficult.
We go on about prejudice and racism and being unfair to every other person in the whole world, like if you're a minority. But what about disability? What about people with disabilities? People do look at them because they make different noises sometimes or they act in a different way. I think they're treated as I think they are prejudiced against. And I think what the thing is, once they become a young adult, there's not a lot of understanding. Jonty doesn't look 22, but he is in his age, not mentally. So when Jonty was about 8 months, they discovered that he had a very rare chromosome disorder. So I did get support, and there was a lot in place for him. Because he went to a special needs school, he was cared and looked after for 15 years. So the day he left, it was a major thing because he was going to college. He was becoming a young adult, so to speak. When they get to a certain age, they don't have a job and they don't get a place in a college. Where are they? At home with you all day? And what sort of life is that for anybody?
Once a person reaches the age of 18, a lot of the provisions that are provided for them falls away. So we step in and fill that gap between college and life after that. We support people with a range of disabilities, from autism to Down syndrome, Fragile X syndrome as well. We provide a timetable of courses and lessons designed to improve their independence and just develop creativity and practical skills as well. For a lot of our students, they still require a lot of education and support after leaving school, and so we're happy and really privileged to be able to provide that for them. Not all parents have the time to do that, and so we do offer an almost respite service by supporting their children or brothers and sisters during the day and providing a form of education that they perhaps don't have the resources to deliver at home.
I think society or professional bodies forget. They generalise far too much. They think, oh, okay, you become 18, this happens, that happens. It doesn't happen with a young person who's got learning difficulties because you cannot say the mental age they're at. Jonty will hopefully go to work, but obviously it'll be a work that's supported, which is what he will need. But it does become very limiting.
I think there are some opportunities available by the government, but obviously the resources are limited, and that's why so many of the provisions come from the charity sector, but it doesn't cover nearly enough of what we need to spend in order to support and educate these young people.
And my son's name's Dal Charles, and he has Down syndrome and slight autism as well. And he goes to Pitt, which has helped so much. He goes Monday to Friday from 9:30 till 3:30. He loves it. He just really likes going because he interacts with all the other children, well, the adults. You know, they get bored. So they need to be doing things. They need to be like this, playing football. You know, they need to be exercising themselves and stimulating their minds, really.
Educate people as much as possible. Include your persons or people with disability. Just because you can't speak, see, hear, doesn't stop you.
In a world where technology rules and video games are the norm, one London event proves that board games aren't a thing of the past. I went to the Mind Sports Olympiad to find out more. For the past 3 decades, electronic gaming has been a go-to pastime. However, according to The Guardian, board games have seen an increase in sales between 25 to 40%. We're here at the JW3 Community Centre, where the Mind Sports Olympiad is taking place, involving tasks of mental skills and mind games. Throughout the festival, there will be over 60 board game tournaments, including chess, Scrabble and card games.
We have 40 or 50 countries represented. They all fly in from all over the world.
and it's a great atmosphere.
So the Mind Sports Olympiad, it's a celebration of anything related to mind sports. So that will include board games, it'll also include card games as well. Anything that's cerebral, we want to celebrate that. We want to encourage people to go out there and just come and try.
Well, traditional board games and the more modern ones especially really encourage group interaction, unlike video games.
Some of our players here today, they're playing 10 hours. They're, I would consider, real athletes of the mind. You know, board games that have been proven to be so beneficial. We know now that they can offset Alzheimer's, they can improve your memory, also just improve actually your ability to make decisions in real life. I can't think of anything better.
Board games are, you need to think, you need to analyze, you use your mathematical skills as well as your vocabulary skills. It makes you to think.
And do you prefer video games or board games?
I would prefer board games. As you see, video games, a lot of bad effects happen on your body. You might get a lot of diseases like gorilla arms, and your eyesight gets weakened.
To change their minds and to teach them other way to live. It's perfect.
There were competitors from all age groups, from small child to a grown adult. Everybody was interested. Nobody was tired.
Because of seeing this kind of competition, championship, naturally children will get more interest on this and they will start work on this.
As a game inventor, I can see that video games are the games of this generation and has the right to exist, but can't be the only type of game.
The video gaming industry has its benefits, I suppose, and computer games, video games, they're really nice and they can do things that obviously board games can't. But there's nothing quite like sitting down with some friends, as I say, and having a good game, spending an evening together.
It's actually better. I'm not saying not to play video games. You can play video games, but not for a long time. Most people think that, oh, board games, they're not so good. Why should I play board games when I have FIFA 15 or any other video game? No, board games are not bad. They're good. They improve you. They help you to become a better individual.
And do you think it's helped you become a better individual?
Oh yes, playing Scrabble in the sense has helped me become better with new English words which I can use in my school and amaze my friends with.
This November, the MOBO Awards are heading to Leeds to celebrate music of black origin. Ikran Dahi's report showcases some of those shortlisted at this year's nominations event.
The MOBO Awards are back for its 20th anniversary. We headed down to Ronnie Scott's in Soho to hear who had been nominated and see performances from Tori Kelly and Lil Sims.
This is the type of music that ain't never gonna sell well. Should've never ever told me that. Should've never ever told me that. What if I prove you wrong? Tell me now, could you live with that? No, you wouldn't wanna live with that.
You know what, the MOBOs is really important, not just because of the music and because of all of the artists that we love so much, but because it really encourages diversity. It's one that reaches out to an incredibly diverse demographic. And Kanye King, the founder and CEO, she always does a lot of work on the ground, outreach programs to really make sure that lots of young people from very different backgrounds across the UK are getting involved in different projects.
Oh, it's such an honour to be back, to be nominated last year, to win Best Newcomer, to be back nominated for Best Female Act, and the lineup is incredible.
The 20th MOBO Awards is so sick because I remember watching this when I was a kid, so I probably started watching it when it was like the 10th MOBO Awards, and 10 years later I'm here and I'm nominated, so it's a proper nice feeling.
Incredible to be part of the MOBOs, it's such a huge part of British black culture and music, and it's what I watched growing up, so it is amazing to be here.
Welcome and thank you for coming to our annual MOBO Awards nomination launch. As part of our 20th anniversary celebrations, we announced our MOBO season only 2 days ago, together with the launch of a diversity report that further detailed the imbalance in employment across the creative industries.
So it was sick, man. I feel like there's enough diversity going on, man. Definitely.
Like good music, it will chart.
Yeah, it's not about really like race or anything like that. It's just about the music, really. Music don't really have a colour, so it's just about everyone just making the best of music, man. And it just happens so that all of us are friends and we're all from the same scene. So yeah, sick, definitely.
I think the MOBO's undoubtedly has been a game changer in the music industry and in the music scene, particularly across Britain. And people always say, why do we need the MOBOs? It's the same reason we had black newspapers, same reason we have Asian radio stations, because these communities are all a vital part of the UK PLC, but they felt neglected or felt that their voices weren't represented. And it was the same in the music industry. That's why the Carnegie King created the MOBOs, to give black music a voice, to give black music an opportunity to be taken seriously and to be celebrated. And that's gone on to expand into many, many areas.
For me, I think it's just more unifying us as a people and as a culture, and we need to stop with this categorization of you're just a female rapper, because you wouldn't call someone a male rapper, you wouldn't call someone a male chef. It shouldn't be kind of boiled down to gender, class, race, any of those things. I think that's something we need to eliminate.
That's it for this week's episode. We hope you enjoyed the show. To find out more information about any of the stories featured, or to send in any suggestions you may have for future episodes, head to communitychannel.org/London360. If you'd like to stay up to date with what goes on behind the scenes here, be sure to join in the conversation and follow us on Twitter at London_360. Remember, keep it 360.